Here is the Keira book. They have all her other books. We are not resting till we find it.
I like how is Siren not one of the books?
No, that's her other first book. Let's go downstairs and look. I know we are gonna find this book. Hello everyone, today is a very, very sad day. Very sad. It is the book talk of one of the last books of one of my favorite series. And moments of silence please. Anyways, if you haven't guessed yet, the name of it is in the description for what the video is called. But if you haven't guessed it, today we'll be talking about The Crown by Keira. Oh my gosh. This book, okay, I read it. I'm like, okay, this is good. Okay, yeah, it's alright. Get to the middle of the book. And let's use a metaphor here. Keira basically just took my heart out, smashed it on the ground, and threw the pieces into the wind, and that is what happened to my heart in this series. It was such a good series. I think it had a good ending, a little predictable, had a good ending, but yet it was bittersweet. I don't really know how I feel about this right now because I loved the book, but yet I don't really want to read another book, but I still want to know what happened after this book. Have you ever felt like this with a book? I don't know, it was very bittersweet. It didn't have a bad ending. It was just very bittersweet. Anyway, so that video you saw before this video started was me going to the bookstore to buy this book. I don't know, I just thought it'd be just a little fun introduction or so. I don't normally buy books on release days, just never have. I don't know, I feel like I can always wait for them to come out. There's only a few times I will buy a book on a release date either. So if it's my favorite author and just I like to own their books, or B, if it's the last book of one of my favorite series, in this case, The Selection. And so, let's get started talking about this. This book, I gave a total of 4.5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, kind of slow, kind of fast. There's parts where it's, really slow. And there's parts I really did like about it. I don't know, it's not as good, in my opinion, as the original series, but I still love it. Okay, so one part in this series where I just totally, LOL'd at was when Leland is having tea, I think, with Hale. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if I can be a prince. It's just a lot of responsibilities. And then Hale's like, yeah,
I'm pretty sure your mom probably had doubts.
from your perspective, that's what the whole Selection series was about. America.
Can I be a princess? No, I can't be a princess. Could I be a princess? No, I can't be a princess. I can be a princess. Oh, I can't be a princess.
It's like that scene from Tangled when she escapes from the tower and she's all debating with herself I'm a despicable human being. Best day ever! I'm never going back. I have to go back. That was America's Singer in the Selection series, and so I felt like this was kind of a reference to that. One of the big plot things in this book is Elin descends to be the queen. I kind of didn't like it. I gotta admit, I did not like this plot twist. I guess it's pretty obvious now knowing the title of the book is called The Crown. I didn't like that. I liked Maxon America as king and queen and Elin as princess, which I guess it kind of makes sense that she's going to be queen someday, but might as well make her queen in this book. I wasn't sure if I liked that so much. Sometimes when you read authors' books, especially in sequels, you start noticing similarities. For example, in the last book of the one, Maxon descended as king. We didn't see it, but we know he descended as king when his father and mom died. In this book, Elin descends as queen. Shocking, I know. Similarities by the same author. But, surprising, gasp! She became queen? No, it's kind of just okay, she became queen. That's one of the downfalls. I'm not just saying it's with Keira Cass's books. It's basically with a lot of series. I don't want to say every series, but a lot of series you read, you tend to get repetitive. You start finding times where author kind of repeats themselves in storylines. It's not the same storyline, but they have little details that are the same. Okay, so I almost was spoiled for this book. I thank God I wasn't. So I'm on Instagram and I follow Keira Cass on Instagram because she's just an amazing person and I just want to follow her on Instagram. And someone in the comments below, this is one thing that really irritates me, is when people like to say the ending of books in comments on Instagram. Seriously, don't do that. Get a YouTube channel if you want to talk about the ending. This one person starts talking about the ending, like, I was filled with so many emotions at the end, and I was like, I didn't take my eyes off the spoiler. Like, kind of like in those movies. Have you ever seen those movies where the character is stuck on the train tracks, like they're just standing there and the train is barreling towards them and they can't move, they can just stand there? That was me with reading this post. Like, my brain is screaming, get out of the way, get out of the way, avert your eyes, don't look, warning, warning, danger, danger. And all I'm like, I gotta keep reading this, I gotta keep reading this. Why can't I turn my face away? Like, have you ever had that experience? So I was almost spoiled, but luckily we're all good. I was able to turn my face away. So one thing that was interesting about reading this book is to compare Maxon's selection with Elin's selection, and at first I was like, wow, this is totally different, but then I gotta remember it's actually under different ruling, where in Maxon's selection, besides the whole like the banishing and all that other stuff that went on, which technically Elin did banish someone, that did happen, but other than that, Maxon, like, he met all their families, he got them gifts when they became the elites. Elin's kind of just like this straight line. I don't know, I didn't like the series as much. Like, it was still good, but I didn't like it as much. I think some of it is because we are reading from her perspective, where when America's, we kind of already knew it. She was going to end up with Maxon. But it was still good because you were reading it from kind of like an outside view, I want to say. Elin's had the advantage, you didn't know who she was going to pick. But at the same time, it's just there was no excitement because we were reading from her perspective. We never got to know any one of the characters well. When we were reading from America's perspective, we got to know all the characters. We got to know Maxon more as a person. And we knew America because that's who we were reading from. Where Elin, we didn't really know that much about her suitors. And then in the last book, The Heir, Fox promises to take Elin to the beach and stuff. He's final. That never happened. I was looking for like this nice romantic beach day, and it just didn't happen. Then we have this other dude. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Let's call him M. M will be his name. He kind of just like shows up. He's like, hey, what's up? I'm gonna help you run your country. And I think some of the reason why these books weren't as like exciting, there was no villain. Like in the Selection series, the villains were the rebels, the villain was the king, where these there were none. Like, yes, you had like the turmoil with the people in the country, but that was it. And then we get to the last book and, oh look, here's a villain, and nothing really happens with the villain. Like, there was no, oh my gosh, is he really gonna try to take over the crown? I think Keira should have done, like, make us meet him in the first book, and then this book maybe slowly have Elin start to fall for him and get her to wanting to say yes, then have her find out the plan, and then try to work her way out of it. Instead of this whole like, oh, well, he's coming for the crown, so I just gotta get married, and I'll end the story. It didn't create any tension. And he says the most cliche line a villain ever says,
"This is not the last you'll hear from me."
And it's like, dude, just stop. So everyone's saying how, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised she picked Eric. I mean, I kind of started guessing she liked Eric when the first time I read The Heir, and how much we were starting to hear from Eric, because authors don't put a lot of details about people if they are not going to be important to the story. I mean, I thought she was going to pick Eric. I was tied between Eric or Kyle, because I never want to assume in these books who she's going to pick, because authors can very well turn around and do a plot twist. I liked Eric, but I didn't realize how much I liked Kyle till she sent him away. But have you noticed that, like, once Elin becomes queen, America and Max just disappear? We don't hear about them till the very end. Like, that's it. It's like, okay, did they literally just drop off the face of the earth? Okay, so let's talk about this. The epilogue. I don't know if I should be happy or sad about it. Like, in a way, I love the epilogue because I just like how the author worded things, because I feel it ties up to Elin's story so well. It's exactly what she was thinking beforehand, what she learned. And one thing I've noticed from reading these books, The Heir and The Crown, is I relate to the story so much. Back then, a year ago when I read The Heir, I didn't relate to it at all. But actually now being 1 year older and having more life experience, I was able to relate to it. So especially the epilogue is what really got me, because I was like, this is so true. But at the same time, I feel like there could have been more to it. Like, it sounds good standalone, and I don't really want to say I want so much as Elin's wedding, because honestly, we read America's Wedding, and once you read one wedding, you've read all the weddings. So we get to the bonus scene of this book, and this is a bonus scene like for the Barnes & Noble's copy. I don't think any of the other ones have them. But anyways, basically in the bonus scene is basically Kaden was getting married to Josie, and just, it was nice seeing a different perspective. But at the same time, it was so sad because, like I said, we started off with America in the Selection series at 17. In this series, she's like 37-ish. By the bonus scene, she is in her 40s. And it's just so sad to see all the characters grow up in a way because Elin was 18 in these books and here she is now in her 20s. Caden, who was 14, is now getting married. It's just, it was so sad because now America and Max have grandchildren and it's just, it was a little, like I said, it was bittersweet. It was just so bittersweet. Like, it was happy, but it was so sad knowing it's the last book. When America had that heart attack, she now says how she's really self-conscious about that scar she got from it, which reminds me of that one quote she has from the one where she did have that bullet wound scar, but she didn't care showing that one. Basically saying all the best people have some kind of scar, and I just love that quote. Sad, because like I said, it's only a few years ago I was reading about America's Selection, and then here we go. Last book. This has been a 1, 2, 3-year journey for me. You know, it's just over. No, it's been a 4-year journey for me. Wow, that's a long time. Okay, so let's talk about one of the major plot twists. Lady Bryce is Max's half-sister. I was not expecting that. Turns out Maxon has a half-sister. It's just, I wasn't expecting it, and it was a surprise, but I thought it was a good plot twist. It was a random plot twist, but it was a good plot twist. But that kind of just shows, like, how much went on in the palace that we didn't know about. Okay, so I really wish Aspen and Lucy could have had a child, or had a child in some way, because I get it, there was that one scene in The Crown where Elin talks to Aspen about it, then that's it, and I guess that's supposed to be our, like, final answer. But come on, if everybody else gets a happy ending, could there just be like, that for them? Like, oh look, someone has chosen them for adoption. Which, I mean, I know they did get their happy ending, because Elin reminded how, like, oh, I see you as second parents and stuff like that. But it would just been nice if they could have had a kid of their own. One thing we never hear back from Garrett. Remember when Elin writes to him and we never hear back from him? He asked him about possibly hiring Nina's boyfriend so he could work closer, and we just never hear a response. So I don't know what happened. Yeah, so I just finished the series and I'm just like, I don't know what to do with my life. What's there? Like, I don't know, I love the series, and like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm kind of like, there's not really more I feel to write about, so I'm kind of content knowing there's not another book. At the same time, I want to know more. Like, I wouldn't mind if the author just wrote maybe a few short stories about Elin and America's life. That's the thing that really irritated me. Is that we read America's story, but we never really got to look into her married life. I mean, yes, we get a glimpse of it in these books, but we never get to know a lot about it. We get to the end of the book, she chooses an end story, that's it. We never really get to hear how they lived happily ever after. Yes, we get like an epilogue or something, but that's not enough. I wish the author could write maybe like half of a book be about America's married life after she got married, and the other half of the book be about Elin's married life when she got married. Anyways, I love the series. I love the series so much. That's 5 years right here. I actually started reading the series when the Elite came out. Funny story about the Selection. This has nothing to do with The Crown, but when the Selection came out, I actually saw it the day it came out, but I didn't buy it because I thought the story sounded weird. Man, I wish I could go back to my 14-year-old self and tell them how wrong I was. There we are. Now I'm going to read the short stories, Happily Ever After. The book's not in here because I'm reading it right now. But I'm reading Happily Ever After. It's kind of like my Let's Get Over the Selection series slowly book. Anyways, thank you for watching. Tell me what you thought of the book. Did you like it? How would you rate it? I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, so I thought it was pretty good. Thank you for watching. Bye! One thing I really like about the series, though, is just Elin's character was very feminism, like very independent. That's one thing I really like about the series. Is that like Keira was kind of like shying away, like, okay, I'm gonna give the camera half a look, and then like last book, look, I am a fully independent person. Look at me. I love this series. I actually like these covers more than the original ones, just because I think they're prettier. And I also like that they're kind of like very feministic colors, purple and pink. Man, I wish I could go. Man, I wish I could go back to my 14-year-old self and